Rabbi said, welcome back to Yerushalmi Eruvin. We are Kof Dalet Amud Aleph. Now we're going to bring a Mishnah from Mikva'os, and we're going to bring that as a contradiction to our Mishnah. Now, the Mishnah, I think in the text that you have, maybe you can just highlight the text quickly or something, I don't know. But there is the source of this Mishnah in Mikva'os. Basically, it's talking about someone who was Tamei Tumah Drabanan, rabbinical Tumah. He goes in a mikveh to purify himself, but there's a question, was there 40 sah of water or not? That's one question. Or he had two mikvahs, one had the right size of water, one didn't. He went in one of them, one of the mikvahs, and he doesn't know which one he went in. So in these situations where it's a rabbinical tumah, and there is a suffix, sveikai tar, so in our quote it says sveikai, he's got a suffix, he's tar, but Rabbi Yossi metame. Rabbi Yossi says he is tameh, even though they're only tumah drabanan. Amar Rav Yonah, you've got the text now. Amar Rav Yonah, Lo timah Rav Yossi ela mishum haicheach. Rav Yossi said he's tameh because there's a clear tumah. There's a chazaka. Look, he used to be tameh, and nothing comes in its way to tell us that he's not tameh. Therefore, we treat him still with the cheskas tumah that he had before. Amar Rav Yossi, it says afilu mokem acher. Even where there's no tumah mechachas, maybe there's something against the cheskas tumah, and which would tell us not to follow it, Rabbi Yossi v'tameh. Rabbi Yossi will still say it's tameh. Yeah, even where there's no reason why you should follow this cheskas tumah. Now, now whatever Rabbi Yossi told us, we're going to have a contradiction with him. Which is now this is the view of the Tana Rabbi Yossi. Yeah, we're going to have a contradiction with the Tana Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi who said it's tameh, we're going to have a contradiction. The Tanina, we've learned in our Mishnah, Amar Rabbi Yossi. Hey, now Rabbi Yossi in our Mishnah is the Rabbi Yossi, the Tana. Hey, Dav Tulas b'Shem Chamisha Zekenim. He gave evidence in the name of 5 elders, Shesafek Eruv Kosher, that he was lenient. Safek Eruv, it's the Safek Drabanan, you can be lenient. But in the Mishnah Mikva'os, we're saying that according to Rabbi Yossi, even a Safek in rabbinical Tumah, we are strict. So are we lenient in a Drabanan din, or are we strict? In Eruvin we are lenient, and in Tumah and Cheskas Tumah we are strict. So the Gemara answers, Tamam, over there in Mikva'os, Rabbi Yossi says Tamei Misafi, he's Tamei Abda, B'Shem Gameh, that's in his own name. But Amahacha, in our Mishnah, he's saying it's Safek Eruv Kasha in the name of other people. B'Shem Chamisha Zekenim is in the name of the 5 elders. As Rabbi Yossi said, he gave evidence in the name of the 5 elders, but he himself didn't hold of it. Now, other people also discussed this question and the answers. Ababai Mema, so B'nai Yeshiva wanted to say, the one who said that with the mikveh is tahar, that you're lenient with the Safek Tumah, right, that is tahar, Amahacha will also say here with the Eruv, where there's a doubt, mutter, you can rely on the Eruv and go wherever you want. So you assume that if you're lenient in one case, you're lenient in the other. And Manda Amar Taman, the one who said that with the mikveh is tameh, and that out of doubt you have to be strict, Amahacha will also say the same thing here, with Safek Eruv, that is asur, that you cannot just go for the tchum of the Eruv. Right? And that we should equate the cases, the Mishnah Mikva'os, our Mishnah, right? Based on this, we should say they're all the same. Now, we still have a contradiction in Rabbi Yossi, and we'll have to answer the way we answered before, that maybe the Mikva'os, you're bringing Rabbi Yossi's own view, and our Mishnah is saying it in the name of other people, but he himself doesn't hold of it. Then he says, Afilu command Amar Taman, but the truth is, even if you say that Safek Tevila is Tameh, that the mikveh is Tameh, that's Rabbi Yossi, Maida Hacha Shuhu Mutter. He will agree here, Shuhu Mutter, that you can follow the Tchum and rely on the Eruv, as Rabbi Yossi explained. He says, mikvahs, you don't have a chazaka. We don't know if this was a full mikvah or not. We don't know if there was 40 sah there. And this person's a chazaka of Tameh. He was Tameh. So we have to be strict. But with the Eruv, there is a cheskas kashrus against the chazaka of the person where he can or cannot go. There is a cheskas kashrus on the Eruv, and it's considered a safek and a drabanan din, we can be lenient. So it could be Eruv, there's more reason to be lenient, even though mikvahs you're strict. Now that's all very well, you've answered the contradiction in Rabbi Yossi, but there's also a contradiction in Rav Meir. Now safek tevila, the tevila tumah drabanan, he's lenient. Our Mishnah, where there's a Safek Eruv, he is strict. Right? So in Rav Meir, he was Chamar Gamel, and he was strict, and you can't rely on the Eruv. So we've got a contradiction in Rameh. Amar Chidna, Klum inun pligid taman lo midivren. He said, wait a minute. There are all the arguments over their suffix tvila. It's a rabbinical tumah. But suffix divren, when you've got a rabbinical tumah, suffix rabbinical doubt, lahakal, we can be lenient. So Rameh is lenient there. Eruv, now the Issa Tchumin that the Eruv is coming to allow, Dvar Torah, it's Minat Torah. Minat Torah, you're not allowed to go beyond the Tchum without an Eruv. Right? It's not one of the 39 malachas, right? But it is forbidden Minat Torah to go beyond the Tchum. Whatever the share is, whether it's 24,000 amas, etc. Yeah? Different shurim, etc. The suffix Dvar Torah lahachme. When you've got a suffix in a Torah din, you have to be strict. So the suffix of an Eruv, Rameh is strict. Now, are you telling me that Tchumin, the Issa of going beyond your Tchum, is Minat Torah? He says the Eruv, the Issa Tchumin that you want to allow Dvar Torah, is it really from the Torah? Where do you get this from? So I can give you a makar. Rabbi Yonas and Amma, Kumi Rabbi Chia, he said Rabbi Chia Rabba, the Shem of Shimon Rabbi Yossi ben Lakulia, like it, you can get lashes. Al Tuchume Shabbos Dvar Torah. You can actually get lashes for it. Yeah, it's not the death penalty, but you can get lashes for going beyond the Tchum. He said to Rabbi Yonas, you only find punishments of skila, of stoning, and kares. Where do we find a separate law not to go beyond the Tchum? So he said back to him, it says, Shavu ish tachtav, every person stay in his place, and do not leave your place on the seventh day. And that is a negative command not to go beyond the Tchum, and you get lashes for it. He says, but Markasiv, now wait a minute. Markasiv, now it doesn't say don't go. It says al. You with me? It says al. Al kasiv. And you don't get lashes if it's a lashon al. He says, wait a minute, I'll give you other cases. Markasiv, you find in the story of Pesach, al tachlu mimenu na, do not eat the common Pesach raw. Now it says al, and yet there is lashes if you eat it raw, right? So the word al can have lashes as well. One who transgresses that issur definitely gets lashes. Rabbi Yossi Ribon said, despite the fact that we're proving from the pasuk with common Pesach you can get lashes when it says al, afal pikein, zeh omed bishmos, this one stayed with his view, zeh omed bishmos, and this one stayed with his view. So Rabbi Chia stayed with his view, you don't get lashes on Techumin, even though Rabbi Yonasan proved against him. Rabbi Yonasan stayed with his view that you do get lashes. We don't answer how Rabbi Chia would answer Rabbi Yonasan's proofs. Meshach Chochmah discusses that as Sameach. Okay, fine. The Bavli actually proves, because of this, that, or a similar Haichacha, that everyone agrees you get lashes on Isurim Malashon Al, and when it says you don't get lashes on Techumin, that's for another reason. Al Yetze Ishvim Koma is also warning to carry from one rishus to another. Yeah, Yetze can be Yotzi, don't carry things from one domain to another. And on that Isur, there is Skila. Now there's a rule, you don't get lashes on a lav which could lead to a Misas based in. A lav which is coming to us as something which is Misas based in, you don't get lashes. So you can't get lashes for going beyond the Tchum, because it's going on Skila on carrying. Okay? Now, from this discussion we learn, the pasuk Shavu ish tachtav, don't leave your place on the seventh day, is the source for the Issa Tchumin min HaTorah. Even Rabbi Chia agrees with Rabbi Yonasan that this pasuk is a lav, not to go beyond the Tchum. He argues about the fact that you don't get lashes on it. Okay. Now there is a source in the pasuk that Issa Tchumin is min HaTorah. But Rabbi Yossi is lenient when you have a suffix Eruv. Now we have a klal. If it's a suffix Issa Torah, we should be strict. He says Eruv also is a suffix Cheresh. We treat it like a doe of a mute, a deaf mute. That it's a suffix, is it chametz or not? And we treat it as it's chazaka, that it's not chametz, and you're allowed to eat it. Right? Basically, he says here, basic Cheresh, the different interpretations. Some learn it means not that it belongs to deaf mute, but it's a dough where you can't see signs of fermenting. There's a reason it did become chametz. Alichas mil, whatever it is. If the zman has not gone past, we don't ask it misafek. You treat it as chazaka she'eno chametz. Okay, that's one shot. Let's take a cheresh. I mean, he says here suffix. Actually, I don't know if anyone brings anything on mute. Actually, I think I said that last time when I explained it. But anyway, here he's saying a dough where it's a suffix if it became chametz or not. and we treat it as chazaka, that it's not chametz, it's mutar b'achila. I wonder if everyone gives that pshat or not. All right. Right, let's carry on. Rav Yiryaboy, he says, Av Kedun, that's all very well, why Rabbi Yosef is lenient, but Chaim, if the Eruv is still in existence. Right? The first three cases of the Mishnah, it rolled beyond the Tchum, or a mound of stones fell on it, or it was Truma, it became Tameh. It's still around. Afilu Nisraf, are you going to say the same thing, that he's lenient if the Eruv got burnt? Now you can't follow Chazaka unless it's still around and you treat it as Chazaka, that it's not Chametz. But if it's an Eruv that got burnt and doesn't exist, you can't put it on its Chazaka. So because of this, the Gemara explains the view of Rabbi Yossi slightly differently. Rabbi Yossi, Kiyante Kaida, we fit it in Kaida Rav Hoshia, according to what Rav Hoshia said, Higi Ucha, Soif, that we've reached to learn like the Sof, the main din, Tchumei Shabbos She'enan V'chuvarin Mizvat Torah. They're not clear. The Issa Tchumin is not from the Torah. It's only rabbinical. And that's why Rabbi Yossi holds, and therefore he's makel with Safek Eruv, because Safek Rabbanon we are lenient. So he's saying that Issa Tchumin is not from the Torah, it's only with Rabbanon. Okay? The word Mechuvar is borrowed. We find that often in Yerushalmi. Something for a din which is Menat Torah. And Ma'ena Mechuvar means it's not Menat Torah. Okay. Right. Rabbi Mana asks, Nicha, I understand that the Tchum of Alpaim Amma Eina Mechuva. Look, I understand. 2,000 Ammas for a Tchum, that's definitely not Menat Torah. But Abbas Alafim, Amma Mechuva, but 4,000 is Menat Torah. So at least the bigger length, right, or in Babli is 24. But 4,000 he holds is Menat Torah. Right? Some say he mentions 4,000. There's obviously a proof from the Torah that Erev Techumin you're allowed to go until that distance. If it was Osman Torah, they couldn't be Masakin, that the Issur more, like to lengthen the Issur from 2 to 4. By putting an Eruv down, you end up going 4. Anyway, no, the share of the Osman Torah is 12 mil, Kemachne Israel, like the size of the camp in the Midbar. So basically, Safek Eruv, we can maybe allow it till 4,000. It's a Rabbanan din. We can be lenient. There's no Issa Tchumen Torah unless you go 12,000 mil.
How many amos is that?
12,000 mil is around 12 kilometers.
How many amos is that?
24.
24,000.
I think so. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 12,000
It's a lot more than 4,000 mil.
It's Shnei Masa mil. It's roughly 12 kilometers. Some Rishonim Paskin based on our sugya that Menat Torah you can't go beyond the Tchum 12 mil, and which is roughly 12 kilometers. See the Rambam, Magid Mishnah, the Balamor, and the Ramban hold that the Babli argues. In a few places we find that those who hold Menat Torah you can go beyond the Tchum 2,000. There's no limit of the Tchum Menat Torah. Although many hold like the Balamor and the Ramban, the Shulchan Aruch passes that we should be machmir like the opinion that 12 mil is from the Torah. Okay? Right. Halacha hey. Is that right? Okay. Now, we're talking about Breira. You want one or two things to happen. And you don't know, you want it to happen from now. And you make a condition that whatever will happen in the future will depend, and when it happens, then it will be retroactive from now. And we don't yet know what's going to happen then. But when it happens, we want it to be working from now. Right? And that can happen if at the end of the day, when something happens, it's hovra lemafreya, right? It's retroactive that this thing was going to happen all along, and as if it's happening from now. Right? And the Tanaim argue, some say we say yesh breira or ein breira. The Bavli says Menat Torah there's yesh breira, ein breira, and with Rabbanon yesh breira. That's the Bavli. But our Mishnah is going to follow the view of yesh breira and how a person can allow 2 Eruvs to be chal in 2 separate places and to stipulate that one will work based on what happens on Shabbos morning. So Masne Adam al Eruvin. So you make a condition, you leave 2 Eruvs in place. You are in the town, and the big rabbi is coming to speak. But where will the rabbi come to? He might go 2,000 ammas on the east side, the lower east side. Or he might come 2,000 on the west side. And when will he come? He'll come on Shabbos morning. Today, you don't know where he's going to go. So what do? You hedge your bets. I put an Eruv down on the east. It's not in the town. In the town, you can go everywhere. He's not coming in the town. He's going to be outside the town. So I put an Eruv down on the east. I put an Eruv down on the west. And when I find out Shabbos morning where the rabbi is, I choose that one to go to. So Masechet Eruvin. And also there's other cases here. Either the rabbi coming, or V'aymer, maybe there's Goyim coming, causing trouble, so he wants to get to the other side. In Bo Goyim min ha-Mizrach, he says, if Goyim are going to come on the east, and I need to run away to the west, then Eruvin Daf, then I want my Eruv to be valid on the west. Now, although the Eruv has to work when Shabbos comes in, and the Goyim only come on Shabbos morning, but when we come and say Yesh B'Reira, it comes out that the Eruv on the west acquired it for him, and he can go towards the west, right? And he can't go anything at all towards the east. Now, and if they come to the west, Eruvin Mizrach, I want my Eruv to be on the east. If they come on the east and the west, wherever I want to go, I'll go. My Eruv will be the time where I decide then. If they did not come, not on the east and not on the west, I want to be right here and stay in my town and not go anywhere. I want to be my tchum like the people in this town. Well, if it's life and death, of course he can go. We're obviously not talking about life and death. So a person can make a tanai on his Eruv. Now, his Eruv is an individual wording. This is the way to read it. Al Eruvov. He's leaving two. And he makes a condition on both. One will be chal, or maybe neither of them will be chal, based on what happens on Shabbos morning. And he says, if the people didn't come there or there, I'll stay in my town. It sounds like, without saying that bit, then it's not as if he's actually said it. Although it's mashma from his words. In other words, does he have to repeat things? Tanai kofel, remember? Does he have to say an additional opposite side of his condition or not? It sounds like here he said it. And if they don't come, I want to be like my town. Although that would be understood even without him saying it. But he has said these extra words. So if they come, my Eruv will be there. If they come, my Eruv will be there. The implication is, if they don't come at all, then I don't need my Eruv there or there. But he actually says it. Man Tana, who is the Tana who holds you have to repeat the other side of the condition and say, in Bo, if they come, in Lo, they don't come, is Rameh. I don't remember. We would find Rameh in Bavli. It always says you need Tanai Kofel, yeah? I don't remember. Which Rameh is it? Where did Rameh say this? Chavrayom, and they said Rameh de Kedushin. Rameh is talking about what he's talking about in Kedushin. The Tani relates to the price. Right. A person tells his wife. Now, Rabbi said this is not the best speech at a getting engaged event. Okay? Oh, don't use this wording. This is what he says. You should be Mukadeshes to me. On condition, on condition the rain will fall. Okay? It's not the best one-liner to say, right? To one's fiancé, but there we are. So the deal is, Yadu Geshamim, if the rains fall, Mekudeshes, she's engaged. Im Lav, and if not, Eina Mekudeshes, she's not engaged. Rameh says, Bein Yadu, Bein Loyad, look, whether the rain fell or not, Mekudeshes, she is engaged. Unless, if he wants to put in a proper condition, he needs to say both sides. He has to repeat and double up his condition and say, if the rain doesn't fall, then you're not engaged to me. But everyone agrees, if he says to the wife, you're engaged after the rainfall, then Yadu Geshamim Mekudesh, the rainfall, she's engaged, she's not engaged. Now, the mission is like the view of Rameh, and it requires the person to double up his condition and say the other side. If they don't come here, and I'm like my town. If he doesn't say it, the Tanai doesn't help. And the Eruv works, and he won't be like his town, even if they're going to come either side. Rabbi Yossi said, no, we're not referring to that Rameh where he says you have to use a double wording. It's another Rameh. Rameh de Eruvin. It's what we've heard Rameh about Eruvin, the Tanina. We've learned. Now this we had already. If an Eruv rolls beyond the Tchum, or a mound of stones fall on it, or it gets burnt, or his Truma became Tameh, Safek, you don't know, did it happen before Shabbos or not? Rameh, Rabbi Yehuda, Omer, they said, Hareza Chamo Gamo. He's like the camel driver and the donkey driver, both taking him in different places. Rabbi Yosef Shimon, Omer, they said, Safek Eruv, where there's a Safek if it helps, is kosher, and he has 2,000 from the Eruv. Rabbi Yossi, Rameir said he's to be strict. He didn't mean that apart from the Chum, he's got a kula here. No, he's lost all directions. He's lost the 2,000 from that side, 2,000 on the other side. You think, well, he's got his own house, he can stow 2,000 in the town. No, it's in his lechumra, he has nothing. He has 4 amas where he is. Ramana said, but Yos, it's right what Rabbi Yossi said, that according to Rameir, he only has 4 amas. Because Be'eruvai, he doesn't have the tchum of his Eruv. His Eruv didn't help. Right? It wasn't help definitely. It was only a suffix, so it maybe not worked. And now he doesn't follow his own town of them, because he had intention to leave the town. When he put the Eruv down, he didn't want to stay in the town. So he wanted to follow his Eruv, and the Eruv didn't work. Now this is also the reason why the Mishnah requires us to double the condition and say, look, if the Goyim don't come, I want to be like my town. If you don't double the wording, we don't know, maybe he didn't think that the Goyim not going to come. Maybe he was sure they were going to come, and he'll have to make the Eruv in the east or in the west. Maybe he decided for sure to remove himself from his house, and he has no tchum at all. So that's why he has to double his lashon. But now here, the case of the woman with the kedushin, on the condition the rain will fall, and the rain didn't fall. Rameir said she's mekudeshes lechumra. She's not definitely engaged. It comes out of kula. If basically she now got engaged to someone else, then in this country basically if she got engaged to someone else, she's not definitely not engaged to this number 2, because we don't know if she's engaged to number 1 or not. You hear that? L'rishon eina mekudeshes. She's not definitely engaged to the first one, because the rain didn't fall and the condition didn't come out. But Lasheni eina mekudeshes. Now the second person, she's also not definitely engaged, because Shalai Kaval Arishon is tonight. He didn't duplicate his condition for the first one. And since he didn't duplicate, we're worried maybe he didn't really care about the rain not falling. And maybe he made it in his mind to definitely get engaged to her, right? And he only intended he only intended there should be no kedushin if the rain doesn't fall. So basically, we don't know. So he's got a suffix. He might be kedushin to the first one. He might be kedushin to the second one as well. Now the bride that we brought said if he tells the wife, you're mekudeshes to me after the rain falls, then everyone agrees if the rain doesn't fall, she's not mekudeshes, even though he didn't repeat the Tanai. Rav Chagai Abai Kol Rav Yosef, this Tanai. Now Moshe Rabbeinu made a Tanai with who? Bnei Gad, Bnei Reuven, and half tribe of Menashe. And he said, if the Bnei Gad or Bnei Reuven will come with you across the Yarden to fight, they will get their land, right, on the other side of the Yarden. Now, that condition, if you come to fight, if you don't come to fight, now that surely is like a case of afterwards. It's like you have a kedushin to me after the rain falls. And even so, Moshe Rabbeinu had to duplicate his Tanai. So you see, not like the Brisa, who says everyone agrees that you don't need to duplicate the Tanai when it's like a case of after. But Rabbi Yosef answers, Shani, the case of Tanai Moshe was different. The land of Evi Adam was in front of them. They wanted to be Zaycha in it now, from the time of the condition. He was trying to take it from them. He made a stipulation, they'll get it now only if they fulfill the condition. And if they don't fulfill it, they will not have a right to it now. And the land will be taken away. And that's why he had to duplicate the Tanai. Rabbi Yehuda ben Shalom, Rabbi Yehuda ben Pazi, B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan, Yadu l'Simpon. The Chachamim, as far as the Shtar Kiddushin, where there's a condition in it, right, they treated it. How do they treat it? Kashitas Rameir de Kiddushin. They treated it like Rameir Kiddushin, and therefore they required the double wording, the double duplication of the condition, as we shall see now. So Yadu l'Simpon means with the Shtar Kiddushin, with the Tanai, they followed Rameir's views in it. Simpine is like a receipt. Like a shover can cancel things out, right? A receipt can cancel a debt, obviously. It's mavata l'shtar avo. So here we're calling a shtar kiddushin, which has got a tanai, a simpine, because the tanai and the shtar, it can break that which is written in the kiddushin itself, and break up the kiddushin if the condition doesn't get fulfilled. So let's see what's going on here. Rav Yirmiyah, the friends of Rabbanan, they asked the following: why are you telling me that there's a condition to require double lashon in the shtar is like Rameir's view, Afilu Rabbanon, even according to Chachamim, you should require double lashon in the shtar. Less Cain, even Rabbanon, even according to Chachamim, because less Cain, did we not have on Rabbi Vav, Shem Rabbi Yochanan, say the simpoin kachu? The way of the simpoin in a shtar is like this. I know Ploni Ba'Plonis B'Kaddish Raisa. I so and so, I'm getting engaged to you. Plonis Ba'Plonis, to you so and so so. Amanas Mitelech Mikmas Ploni, providing, on condition that I give you a certain amount of money. Yeah? I'm going to give you a certain amount of money. And I'll bring you to a chuppah b'yom ploni on a certain day. In Asa, if that day comes, Yom Ploni like an astich, I've not brought you to the chuppah, lo yahavili alach klum, then I'm afraid there will be no kiddushin in place. So he said, if I don't bring you by that day, there'll be no kiddushin in place. Okay? Now, the Chachamim agree, you have to duplicate, you have to double the wording and say, she's not going to be engaged if you don't bring her to the chuppah at that time. Had it not been written like this, you might have understood that the words, I'll bring you to the chuppah on that day, is not a condition of the Tanai. Al-Manas, that I'll give you money, whatever. Maybe that's nothing to do with it. Maybe it's a separate saying. And it's a promise, he'll bring you to the chuppah on that day. But it doesn't mean by not fulfilling that, it will delay the kiddushin. So it's not clear whether that extra bit is a condition or not. Then the Gemara says, if you want to say, you have to duplicate, say the other side, because otherwise we wouldn't think it's part of the condition. But Yema, well, you could say in the shtar, Amanas, on condition, I'll bring you to the chuppah on that day. In order, he could just say Amanas, on condition that I bring you to the chuppah. He could have added it in there, but in order not to double his Tanai. So he can go back on the wording Amanas a second time. He says, Amanas, I'll give you money. Amanas, I'll bring you to the chuppah on that day. You can follow. So, he could have just said Amanas twice, the time of the chuppah, and giving you the money. And then it's clear that it's a Tanai for the Kiddushin. And that way you don't have to duplicate everything going to the Chachamim. But you see from here, the Chachamim, Masechet the Nusach of the Simba, they held like Rameh, that only through the double wording you can be Mavata the Kiddushin if the condition is not fulfilled. However, Ilu Lai Kafat Tanai, had he not duplicated his condition, Mi'aka Kiddushin, would it have uprooted his Kiddushin? It definitely would not have uprooted his Kiddushin. Now the Gemara asks the steer in the view of Rameh, Aro is good, but Halata, every place, it later Rameh usually holds in Mashra Lava Tashmehen. From a wording of one thing, you can work out the opposite. But here in Kiddushin, he doesn't hold this. And from one side, you work out the opposite. He requires the Tanai Kofel. Yeah, he requires the extra duplication. Because of the severity in Issa Erva, which is severe Issa, Rameh is Machmin Gitin in Kiddushin, and he requires a Tanai Kofel. Yeah, he requires the double wording. Okay. Now the Gemara continues in the case of our Mishnah. So you put two Eruvs on two different sides. But lo hisna. Lo happens if you didn't make any conditions. You just put two Eruvs down, one in the east, one in the west. Now what are you going to say? What's the din? Nishme'ina minhada. We learn from the following. Haresh Eruv ben shnei tchumin. Imagine you put an Eruv to the south, so your tchum will be on the south, and you put an Eruv on the north, so your tchum will be on the north. Mahalech, so what did you do? 1 second. You put it on the south, so it'll be on the south, and then put it on the north, it'll be on the north. Mahalech b'darim ke'eruvay b'tzafon. Right, so what are you allowed to do? You're allowed to go as far south based on the northern Eruv would allow you to get to. You follow? So imagine you have 2,000 others to put an Eruv. So you can go. Imagine you put it 1,000 to the east and 1,000 to the west. So that area you could get to both places, the east and the west, because it's within 2,000 others. But if you put one to the east 2,000 away, well, I'm afraid as soon as you step one bit, you can't go the other way to the west. So what's he telling us? You're allowed to go on the south side only that which would have allowed you had you gone to the north side. And and allowed you again to go only basis of the north, how much you would be allowed to go had you gone on the Eruv from the south. So basically the Eruvs have to be 2,000 numbers apart. And that's as far as you can go to cover both Eruvs, right? If you leave the Eruv where you are standing, in between the two tchums, right in the middle. Basically it's 2,000 that way and 2,000 that way. Don't move. Don't move at all. And behema shel shnei shutzvim, an animal belonging to two partners. Eruv zeh b'safon, one partner made an eruv in the north, the zeh b'dorim, one partner made an eruv in the south. Mahaleches b'dorim ke'eruva. You can follow the animal, it can go in the south, like the eruv, as much as the one of shel zeh b'safon. So again, same thing. It can only go to the north, what would be allowed in the eruv to the south. And b'safon, ke'eruva shel zeh b'dorim, it can go in the north, what would be allowed in the eruv in the south. Right, the north, the south, and the south, the north. Mitzata,
we write it with a Venn diagram.
Oh, a Venn diagram, exactly. Mitzata es hatchum. And if you leave the eruv where you're standing, right in the middle between the two tchumim, and you put it 2,000 to that way, 2,000 to that way, where you are standing, you must not move. Now, the Gemara has the question, which can come with the animal of Shutvin. Now, what happens if you slaughter the animal in Yom Tov? The animal that belonged to the partners, where each one made an eruv in a different area, and they divide up the flesh. Now what? Rav Amar Evarim, he said, look, the limbs of the animal, Yonkin Zevizeh, they were getting nourishment one from the different parts of the animal when it was alive. So each chelek that you got has got moisture it got from the other person's share. So you're allowed to take your chelek only in an area where the other person can go as well. But Ula Ba'ishmael, he says, Ein Evarim Yonkin Zevizeh. No, he says, no, after Shechita, they don't get nourishment from other parts. A moisture, when the animal was alive, fair enough. Beginning of Yom Tov, who received it later on. There's a tchum. Basically, it was chal from the mafreya. Just like it comes now in the flesh. Whatever you got is what was yours when Yom Tov came in, and each one can take his share throughout his tchum. There's no limitations. But Moed Rav agrees, Bechavis, a barrel of wine of two partners, where they divide their wine in Yom Tov, Shehu, that whatever you receive, that is Chelko V'Shavashona. That was your share from the very beginning when you joined up with the wine, and it's Chal on the Chelak of each one. Your Tchum is Miyuchad for you. Now, our Mishnah says, when you make a condition on two Eruvs, where you say, look, if they come this side, that side, where I want to go. If they don't come here or there, I want to be like my town. Kiri Masnisa, this from the Mishnah, Bogai Mikan or Mikan, if they came from here or from there, Loibo go Mikan. And if they didn't come, not here and not there, it's mashma. It sounds like we're explaining if they come or they didn't come. On the Tanaim, the Goyim, we were talking about the Goyim who came. Now, we've learned the Mishnah, you make condition one or two Eruvs. So basically, if the Goyim come in the east, I want my Eruv to be in the west. Some learn, this is what you're saying. If they come from the Mizrach, the east, I want my Eruv to be in the east. You want to go where the Goyim are, according to this pshat. Yeah, not that you're going to the opposite side. You want to go where they are. Now, both Nuschais, they're not really arguing. There's different situations. Ma'adaba b'mizrach, the one who says you want it to be in the east, be'ilein taksivite. These are the leaders of the town. You want to speak to them for the town, for the peoples of the citizens of the town, or to complain about the potholes in the road or something like that. Yeah, people, and therefore you want your eruv to be where these people are coming. You want to go towards them. Mando Abba B'marov, the one who says you want to run away from where they are, Be'ilen Ramoi, those are the Romans who are going to find trouble with the Jewish people and take their money and do bad. So if they come one side, you most definitely want to go to the other side. Okay, we'll carry on a bit more. Now, we talk about someone who leaves two Eruvs, and you depend on what's going to be in the future. You hear a Chacham's coming to town. That's what we said to before. Alright, but again, you want to go where to learn from him, but you don't yet know where the Chacham's going to come. If the Chacham comes to the east, everyone to Mizrach, everyone to the east. Everyone to the west. Comes here, another Chacham here. So one's coming to the east and one's coming to the west. Like where I want to go, I will go. It doesn't come here or there. I really could hear I want to be like my town. Rabbi Yehuda said, Rabbi, one is your teacher, go to your teacher. If they're both your teachers, go wherever you want. Some say, if he comes from the east, I want the Eruv to be in the west, the Ma'ariv. So you want to go where the Chacham is not there. You want to make sure you miss this drasha. The one who says B'mizrach, these are the wise Chachamim. You want to go and hear their Torah. Of course you want to go there. B'marav, you want to go to the west, is Barogil. He's just used to the usual things. He can teach a few psukim. built Mishnah, but he can't be Mepalpal in Divrei Torah, so I'll go the other way. I don't need to hear it. Now, if one is his teacher, you should follow his teacher. One of them was, you always used to go to him. Go to the one you always go to. Surely you know you were going to go to him. If they're both used to, you go wherever you want. Okay? To be continued, Rabbi Sai.